At 3 a.m., my wife's father texted, "We know you spent $570,900, but we don't want you at the company's investors' party." I replied with one word: noted. That was the night I stopped being their ATM. What happened next shocked them. Set up, I'm Grayson Wells, 36, 7 years married into the Holloway family. 2 years ago, their logistics company was dying. Pride, bad bets, and ego had run it into the ground. Camille, my wife, came to me in tears. It's family. It's Dad's life's work. So I did what a good son-in-law does. I sold a second home, liquidated stock, emptied savings, and wired $570,900. I even lent them my CFO, Mara, to stop the financial bleeding. It worked. 6 months later, the business was back in the black. A year later, it was profitable. And then the rewrite began. Raymond, the patriarch, called it his strategic vision. Logan, the golden son, said it was his innovative leadership. My role was downgraded to helpful family support. Camille told me to let her father feel in control. I shut up. I smiled. I played along. The 3 a.m. text. Then came that message. "We know you spent $570,900, but we don't want you at the investors' party." The party where they'd celebrate the turnaround I'd funded. I stared at the screen, typed, "noted," and something inside me clicked. They hadn't just taken my money. They had erased my name. Receipts. Here's what they forgot. I keep receipts. Wire records. $570,900 from my personal accounts to Holloway Group, LLC. Memo. Emergency operational funding. Signed, notarized contracts. I hold 20% ownership with voting rights on major financial decisions. Emails and texts. "Gray's getting too comfortable. We need to remind him he's just the money guy. Keep him in the background. It's easier if he stays quiet." I opened a folder on my desktop titled Exit Strategy and called Mara. It was time to stop being quiet. The party Crash Sky View ballroom, chandeliers, champagne fountains, cameras everywhere. The city's power players lined up to applaud the Holloway miracle. I wasn't there. I was on a plane to Portugal. In my place, I sent Sienna Rodriguez, my attorney, tailored black suit, leather briefcase, shark smile. At 8:15 p.m., right before Logan's big speech, Sienna walked through the crowd and started handing out envelopes. "Mr. Holloway, you've been served. Mr. Logan Holloway, legal documentation for your review." And to Camille, a quiet whisper that turned her face white. Inside the packets, a buyout trigger based on my 20% stake, an accounting of debts with interest, a revised ownership chart, and the consequences for ignoring any of it. The music died. The room froze. Their narrative collapsed in real time. Lisbon. While the party imploded, I landed in Lisbon and turned off every notification except Mara's. Text from Mara. "They're freaking out. You have the deciding vote." Camille keeps calling. I drank strong. Coffee on a balcony over red-tiled roofs and felt something I hadn't in years. Peace. The confrontation. Camille flew in the next day. No makeup. Red eyes. "They're humiliated," she whispered. "Dad hasn't left his office." "I was humiliated," I said, "when your father thanked himself for my work, when Logan took credit for Mara's plan, when you told me to be quiet." I didn't know what to say. "You chose to say nothing," she cried. "But I love you." "I believe you. But love without respect is pity. I don't want pity." She asked if there was a way forward. "Maybe, but not on their terms. You'll have to choose me or the performance." The fall 2 weeks later, Logan resigned. Pursuing new opportunities. Translation. Running. Their biggest investor pulled out and told everyone why. Red flags everywhere. Raymond's health slid under the stress. The empire cracked. Back in Houston, I called a meeting at my office. My turf, my terms. 3 options in writing. Buy me out, fully and fairly. restructure, I stay, with veto power and full oversight. I walk and take my network, clients, and influence with me. Raymond finally looked at me like a partner. We choose option 2. Aftermath, it wasn't pretty. Raymond retired quietly and sold the toys he couldn't afford. Logan fled to Miami to influence. The surprise was Camille. For the first time, she pushed back on her family. She told her father loyalty runs both ways. She hung up on Logan's blame. She even corrected her mother when I was criticized. We started couples therapy. We rebuilt slowly. Trust doesn't flip like a switch, but work is being done. Under my oversight, the company stopped chasing vanity and started making sense. 3 major contracts, 2 new markets, best margins in years. My name is on every strategic plan, not as a footnote, but as a key decision maker. What I learned. For 7 years, I was a supporting character in my own life. I called it being the bigger person. Truthfully, I was being a coward. I feared conflict more than I valued my dignity. That 3 a.m. text didn't break me. It freed me. It showed me exactly how little they valued me and gave me exactly what I needed. Clarity. Sometimes people only see your worth when you're gone. Sometimes you don't get respect until you stop accepting less. Sometimes you have to risk everything to keep what matters. I still have the text saved. We know you spent $579, but we don't want you at the party. It reminds me that the moment I stopped being quiet was the moment I finally got heard. Game over. Holloway's. I won.